This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamb.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank. I love that new intro. Well, welcome to the show. It is Friday, June 17th, 2022. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And my name's Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at oursuccessgroup.com. Today we're efforting again. We thought we'd have this, but so we'll figure out what we're going to do here, maybe on the fly. So regulators, if you have something that you want to talk about, we'll see. We were supposed to have Eve Lowry back in attempting, but no luck yet, and we have not heard from her. So, well,
Eric, go knock on the door at the green room again. Maybe she's in there.
Yeah. Did we not get the green M&Ms only this time? Darn it. So, anyways, we will obviously have a great time, and we've got plenty of topics that we can talk about. In fact, we were just talking about something before the show that I think will be great. But again, you guys, regulators, those of you that are here in the live, checking it out, start posting in there what you want to talk about today. If you know, this could be a catch-all, a Q&A session, so to speak. So anyhow, that's what we've got going on today, Terry. And again, if Eve makes it, then we'll see if we can get her in here. But so far, no Eve. So heard that she was all ready to go, and then something happened again. So
we're on the eve of the show, and
nothing. But nothing. Terry, are you somewhere dark, dirty, and dank?
I'm not, but Jimmy Lamb. That was Jimmy Lamb, right?
It was Jimmy Lamb, and Jimmy Lamb is retired, quote unquote, for Jimmy. That's, retired is kind of like, okay, he's just not going to a job right now. He's always working.
Well, he's a boat captain. I think he is going to a job. I saw him in uniform, and it's funny because one of the guys from Printing United came up to me at the Atlantic City show and said, "Hey, what's the deal with you and being a boat captain?" And I'm like, "That's Jimmy Lamb. That's a different guy." If I were a boat captain, would I be standing here in this booth?
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's hit a couple news items, and we've got a few things. We've got a great Father's Day weekend themed joke coming up too, for dad joke, which, I know that's what really people show up for, Terry. So we're all good. Right. And we also have the regulators already jumping in and sharing some topics, so we can go wherever we want to go. This is the cool part about having a show that we've done for 454 times, I believe. I think this is 454 or 455. I can't remember the exact number. So
let me recount them. The first one we did, and the second one we
just go through all of them. All right. This is what it means to be live, folks, according to Eric. Eric is always the one that makes this so much better than it ever could be. So I think he worries about it more than we do. This does not reflect at all on Eric. All right. This is all on me. All right. Well, let's see here. Good morning to Nikki. Let's interact. We go back a little ways. We've had the regulators commenting. So we've got Nikki checking in. Let's see. I go back a little ways further. We had Chuck first thing in the morning. In fact, he was here early. Thanks for being here, Chuck. Good morning from North Central Minnesota. Hello, everyone. And Barb, and no Eve yet, Barb. So we're still efforting. But all right, Cindy, good morning. Todd over at Fat Dad Wholesale, good morning. Christine, thanks for being here. And Curtis, good morning to you. We've got Terry, happy Friday all. Frank Dunn checking in. Good afternoon, guys. Let's see here.
Wait, where's Frank that it's afternoon?
Well, I think
Nova Scotia.
in the UK. Yep. Okay. I thought so.
Okay.
Eric always helps me out. Frank's in the UK, so it may be evening there.
Oh, then good afternoon, Frank.
All right. And Sandy, good morning. Jerry, good morning. I don't know if like I said, we've got some great questions, comments in here of things to talk about. So we'll get to that. But let's share some news item real quick, if that's okay, Terry. Does that work?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, here's something that came across from the newsletter over there at apparelist.com. An entrepreneur wins a $10,000 scholarship to make over their business. Lakeville, Minnesota apparel creator Jesse Momsen, owner of Threads and Ink, has been awarded the Q1 $10,000 scholarship from Stalls to help make over and advance her business as part of its small business scholarship program. So back in 2021, the company awarded 21 scholarships to aspiring entrepreneurs with new equipment and supplies they needed to get their apparel business started. Every quarter in 2022, it is awarding a shop makeover worth $10,000 to a Stalls Family Small Business Scholarship winner. So to apply for the scholarship, we'll have the link. In fact, Eric's got it down there on the screen, bit.ly/Stalls10K. And then you can also read more about it over at the Apparelist, and we'll have the links in our show notes for that. So, and what's required to sign up? There were some requirements to apply, but check all that out. That's pretty cool. I did not know that they were doing that program. Stall's been really stepping up in a big way. So,
I was going to say the exact same thing. I had not heard about that. What a cool deal, and what a great way to give back. I have to apologize though, Aaron. I was reading that. I just read the headline, and where it said Stalls 10K, I just stopped reading. I thought, no, I'm not doing that.
10K, who would like a 5K is your max?
the rock and roll one, where you can run a little bit and walk a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
stop for a beer.
My wife and I are signed up for a half marathon in October.
Wow.
Her and my son are actually training for it. I still have got this feeling like I can do it without training. So if I don't make it past October this year, you guys will know why. But
that is so funny. I was at Workhorse Products last week, and there was a retired Army guy there, the many years in the military, and myself and Tyler, the president of Workhorse, and kind of talking about getting older. And Tyler was talking about joining a basketball league, and he goes, I just assumed I could do everything I always did before. And he goes, I jumped, and I don't think I left the floor.
That sounds like me last night. Most of you guys know that I play volleyball on Thursday nights, and had 2 sessions last night. So I play with the old guys most of the time, but I got asked to come over to the younger old guys court to substitute first. And boy, I sure feel it after that.
I don't remember aching for 3 days after that, but right.
Yeah. Normally playing 2 hours of volleyball shouldn't equate to being on the shelf for a full week, but now it does.
So yeah, injured reserve.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, what else is in the news there, Terry?
Yeah, Printful in 2021 reached $280 million in revenue. Printful is an on-demand printing and fulfillment company, and it's announced the revenues of $289 million for last year. The company has fulfilled over 48 million items and reached more than $1 billion in total gross merchandise revenue or value since the start of operations in 2013. And CEO and co-founder David Sixnans?
Yeah, I think you got it right. Very good.
Said, we've seen our enterprise customers succeed with print on demand by launching new products with low inventory risk and a short time to market. And you can read more about that over at Graphics Pro magazine, and we have the link there. And if you're listening to the podcast version, it will be over at our website too, the number 2 regular guys.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, interesting. That's a big number. Printful has is an interesting company. They're a software company that just happened to get into print. So it's one of those things. But they do sublimation, they do sewing, they do fulfillment. They've got a lot of stuff going on. So I saw that, and I knew that I don't give you the hard names intentionally, Terry. Trust me.
Like I do. Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Which one of these do I want to read? Oh, I'm going to give this one to Aaron.
Okay.
Let's see how he manages this name.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nikki asked, feeling your age, Aaron. I say yes, but I am still standing. I'm actually standing to do the podcast today. So, maybe that'll help me stretch out. Lyndon, good morning and happy Education Friday to you, coming in from North Carolina. Sandy, great question. We'll get to that. We've got Ramona, good morning to you. And Rich, hello. Frank, yes, 4 p.m. over there in the UK. So, or 1600, I believe would be appropriate. All right. Well, Terry, we're at that point. It's dad joke time. It's time. All right. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Todd, are you ready? For your rebuttal? Hey, it's Father's Day weekend, so what better time to have a dad joke, right?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Aaron, want to hear my joke about time travel?
I'd love to hear your joke about time travel.
Never mind. You didn't like it. That was a good one. Come on. Even Eric shaking his head. Yes.
That's a positive reaction from Eric. I love it. Wow. Awesome. All right. Well,
I love it.
Like we said, we're going to get back into your guys' questions. So keep those coming, and we'll kind of go some different places. No Eve. So I think we're going to just call it and move into this Q&A session, but we also have a topic that we're talking about at the top. So I think we can get them all together. And
I see a name that we both struggled with here in the notes, or here in the chat. Happy Father's Day to you both, from Nikki Adamkowitz.
That's right. I was gonna do it too.
I remember before the show we were all three kind of like saying it. That's right. That sounds right.
And then she helped us. I think it was actually Lori Donovan that really helped us get it right.
Oh, I believe that's right. Yeah.
But now being able to interact with Nikki so much, it's it. She's one of the regulators, and she's let me into her sassy tribe too. So I feel a little bit sassy.
And after we mastered her name, then we're on a first name basis. So all that worked for nothing. So.
I love it.
All right, Aaron, before we go any further, we want to thank everyone for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. If we are always looking for new guests, so if you or anyone you know would like to be on the show, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys, and give us your show ideas. And if you were listening to the podcast version of our show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys with all your industry friends so they can become regulators too. Absolutely. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you are listening to your podcast. We are there thanks to Aaron's diligence. And if you are watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and questions.
We always love the comments and questions, but we're especially excited about them today. And Nikki mentioned she gets to spend some time with us in October in Vegas out there at Printing United. Yes, we will have the Two Regular Guys Decorators Community booth podcast set up. So if you're anywhere near Las Vegas, or you know what, it's a great excuse to go to Las Vegas. It's going to be great. Come on out and join us. We'll have more details. We get a little bit closer to that, but we're excited about that, Nikki. And Terry, here's Todd's rebuttal. As you mentioned, he said that joke had no future. I don't know which one was worse, which one was more dad joke like. And thank you, Nikki, for the Father's Day wishes, by the way. Okay, well, let's hear a quick word about business owner mindset and from my company, our Success Group. And then we can dive into these questions that we've got over here from the regulators and the topic that we wanted to discuss. So I want to share with you 3 mental states most business owners struggle to master. It's goal setting so that you believe it's possible. It's facing fears to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. And finally, taking action even when you're not sure what action to take. Now, 90% of the challenges business owners have faced have nothing to do with the nuts and bolts of running a business. It's not the accounting, the production, or even the marketing. It is the mindset. Those challenges are nothing to overcome when you are a business owner with the proper mindset. At our Success Group, we get to support decorators who are overwhelmed, For an investment of only $5, you can check it out for the first 30 days. Just head over to the website below to have more clarity and confidence in your business. All right, well, go check that out. And I'd love to have some of you guys come join us inside of the OSG community over there. Our OSG squad is a wonderful group, and we get to help and guide people to that business foundation and business mindset that they need. Just love, Terry, I know you've known me for a while, but I love the fact that we've been able to have so many people be part of this, and just all the great comments and feedback that we get from people about them. So, yeah. So, Terry, what?
I skipped through the notes, so we've come to the close of another show. And
all right. Well, so I don't know what to do here. Let's get into some of those comments from the regulators here first, and we can kind of figure out how we proceed, because we're already into another topic here already. So, Eric, would you bring up? Let's get Todd's comment that you had there, and let's start there, and then we can kind of go from there.
I apologize. I lost audio again. Aaron,
Okay.
so.
All right. So there we go. Things to think about before purchasing new equipment is always a good topic. So, Terry, what are some of the things that you can think about that would be, things to consider before purchasing new equipment? I know you've talked about this in seminars and stuff like that for sure.
Well, Aaron, one of the big things I talk about in my screen printing classes is look to the future. Think about, assume that your business is going to grow, and like for dryers, for instance, a dryer, a lot of people think a dryer is a dryer, but the dryer, it depends on the capacity of that dryer. And so, like when my daughter, Taylor, had her screen printing business while she was a student at Arizona State, she had a small location, so her dryer would only cure 48 pieces an hour. An experienced screen printer can do one color prints. You can do about 100 pieces an hour. So that dryer limited her ability to do the amount of production she was capable of doing. So, buy to the future. Imagine that your business is going to grow, and buy accordingly. Because if I were to start a screen printing business today, and my dryer only had a capacity of 100 pieces an hour, that's it. I'm maxed out. I am reinvesting in that equipment as soon as I buy another press. Or I guess that's my biggest thing, is think about the future when you are making equipment purchases. And of course, you need to calculate that equipment and what you're going to be capable of doing with that equipment. So how about yourself?
Yeah, I think what you were talking about, as you were talking, I'm also trying to communicate with Eve here a little bit, because she's been popping in and out again. So I think we're just going to move forward here. But before purchasing equipment, one of the things, and maybe you covered this, Terry, and I apologize that I wasn't fully present, but the new equipment, and as a guy that sells equipment, Terry, you may want to just kind of earmuffs here for a second, because a lot of times that equipment can be shiny object, right? And I think small business owners can be challenged with the shiny object syndrome, right? Oh man, I really want to get my business going. I really, got all these, I'm overwhelmed. I can't figure it out. So this new piece of equipment is going to be the magic bullet that saves everything. And again, I know that you are somebody that works with people to understand their business before selling a piece of equipment, but there's other people out there that just like, oh, you've got a credit card. Okay, let's do this. Right. And I think that's one of the considerations that you have to make is do you have a market for that? Is there a return on investment? Is there a better way to maybe get started and build that market? Terry, you guys have a ton of great DTG customers, and I imagine some of them would be willing to, do some wholesale work for people as they get into it. I know we do some wholesale DTG work for people as they get into it, and then help them understand what what the process is. Like, for example, we do some sublimation stuff for a gentleman, and he's got the equipment, but he hasn't set it up yet. And he realized after kind of he's actually an OSG member, he realized after kind of going through all the steps and mindset stuff that we talk about that, yeah, maybe he'd bitten off a little more than he could chew. And so he wanted to kind of learn about it. Right. So we did a project and we had to figure out all the artwork stuff and why, he just thought sublimation was going to be cool. And he's like, okay, well, here are these cotton shirts that are black. Let's do these. Sorry, man, it doesn't work like that. It wasn't quite that bad, but I've seen that, right? And that's understandable. There are these considerations that you have to make. So I guess to kind of finally get to my point, think about what that return on investment is first, right? And I think you should go make that equipment purchase. And as long as you realize and you know that, yes, you don't have to have like, oh, I've got the market for sure. Don't wait necessarily. But you got to get to that point where you're very confident that you can keep that equipment busy and that it's going to, be useful for you, and that there's not another way that you can kind of build that market first. Because no matter what, no matter how great Terry teaches you or the folks at Equipment Zone teach you about how to use that equipment, there's still going to be a learning curve for you. Right. And so, I think you see that a lot of times, maybe in your screen print classes too, but people are kind of going, okay, I finally, I imagine you've had people that show up at your classes and like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for a while, or maybe they've been doing it for quite a long while, and they just have not really felt comfortable with it because they haven't gotten over that learning curve yet. They needed an expert, somebody that's, maybe been around a couple of days here, like Terry.
round and round and round that block, right?
just to, help you over, like, oh yeah, right. I mean, I can't imagine. I've been in your class before. And just in this one time that I was in that class with you, the light bulb moments that people are happening. And these aren't like, oh my God, major, I've been doing this all wrong, but it's just the little things that then now I can really put this to work and I can grow that efficiency and I can make money off of this piece of equipment. Right. So, talk about that a little bit, Terry.
Well, Aaron, as well, when you talk about building your market, I've certainly said to people before when they're doubtful about, well, I just don't know if I can find those customers. And I've said that to people, just like you're saying, well, listen, let me hook you up with some folks that can do the production for you while you build that market. And then you can have the confidence that, yes, I can make that lease payment, or I can make that investment in this equipment. So absolutely, I have no problem at all telling people that. And I've told people before also that, hey, this equipment isn't right for you. This is what you want to do. This equipment is not going to be the best option for you. And and years later, that person may show up again and say, hey, I appreciate you being honest with me and discouraging me from buying that equipment. And now I'm ready for it, but you got to be able to sleep at night, when you when you're talking about people when they see that credit card in your hand.
Well, but I think that kind of says something about the longevity that you've had in that space, right? As your former sales manager, I used to go, oh, Terry, you missed that sale, but I understood it, right? We understood it was more of a joke, but understood that was the situation. Like we plan to be there, and you're still there, and you get to have those conversations with people that maybe you talked out of something and now they're ready to move on. So Christine says, go ahead, Terry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna add something else that along these same lines, kind of the flip side of it is jumping in with both feet off a cliff. Hey, here at the show, I bought embroidery equipment, I bought sublimation equipment, I bought a DTG printer, and I'm running over there to buy an entire screen printing setup. And I'd be like, whoa, hold on. Do you have any experience in any of this? No. Are you sure you want to do all these things at one time? And invariably, when I talk to these people a year or two later, they'll be like, well, I did the embroidery part, and now I'm learning the screen printing part, and all that other equipment's still sitting in boxes in my shop, and because it's just overwhelming. I mean, to learn to be a screen printer, and I've probably said this on the show 100 times, I can teach you to go home and burn screens and set up a press and be printing a job Monday after my class. But to be an expert, it's going to take you 3 years. There's so many variables in the process, you know. And even as something as easy as direct to garment printing, there's still a learning curve. It might be 30 or 90 days, but and sublimation, Aaron, I tell you what, every time someone asks me about sublimation, the very first words I say is, if they want to do garments, is, you understand this is for white 100% polyester garments. Wait, what? Almost every time, because all they look at is, well, direct to garment printer, that's $16,000. I could buy a decent sublimation printer for $2,500. I want to do that. Well, they don't do the same thing.
Yep, totally. And yeah, there is that side of it where, like you said, it's, you don't know all of it, right? So you got to ask as many questions as possible. But here's what I would suggest, Terry, for people that are at that space. I actually had an opportunity at Indy to work with one of the OSG members that happened to be there, and they were looking for new equipment. And but they had all the right questions, right? They knew the market. They were getting things, and so we were able to sit down and go, okay, how much, you know, if this is what the package is going to be, how much would you have to add to your business to make this work for you, right? And that was covered, and they thought through what the challenges would be and what their customers really wanted, right? Because there was all sorts of cool stuff to see there, but they ended up going with this particular package because of the fact that they did ask the questions about their market, right? They knew what people were going to ask about, what they needed. And so not only were they able to find the equipment package that was right for them, but they're also able to kind of figure out the accessories, what software they'd have to learn, right? And all of, so they considered all of the things and took out the, oh my God, it's so cool. Look at, oh my God, did you see that thing that they made? You know, right. And it's great to be excited about it. And you want to be excited about that new piece of equipment, because then you're going to go home and you're going to share and you're going to talk about it and you're going to tell people the new things that you can do. But you also have to kind of rein that in a little bit and go, okay, what's the reality of this? You know, after I've had this piece of equipment for 6 months, for a year, am I still going to be as excited about it? Right. So,
you know, Aaron, I will never forget at US Screen one time, and you may have heard me say this before. Somebody called up and they had a T-Jet 2, I think, and wanted to know if they could buy an extended warranty. And I said, sure, absolutely. And I said, are you having an issue? Well, I bought it just about a year ago, and I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I thought, really? Well, I guess the excitement wore off somewhere between the time you ordered it and it showed up at your door.
At your door. Yeah. Well, you know, and the reality is life happens, right? The truth of the matter is life will happen, but you have to try to be considerate of that. In fact, I'm not trying to one up you, but I'll one up you on that story, so to speak, Terry. You had talked about people, you know, getting all of the things, right? Well, I've got to do UTG. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. Had that experience with somebody, and you know, like you said, they kind of, oh, well, I ended up doing this, and now I'm starting to do this, but those other things are just sitting still in the box. Well, the problem for them was those other things were demo pieces off of the show floor that had ink in them. They were inkjet printers. It was those print heads were shot at that point. It just sat there, right? And yet they were told, and so it was just all of those things, and like, oh man, you felt so bad. And like they kept coming back year after year. Oh, what do we do? Just what we told you last time. You got to get new heads. I mean, it's like
I'm going to keep calling until you tell me what I want to hear. Push this button and make everything right.
yeah. And it, you know, you felt bad for them, but at the same time, we had that same conversation that you talked about, right? That is this really right for you, right? Where are you at now? I thought the piece of equipment that we were working with was going to be the one that would win out based on what they told me about their market, but you know, it happens. So, Terry, let's hit a couple more comments here, and then we've got a couple of other questions to get to. Okay, so Christine says, I was thinking about scheduling an appearance on the show to talk about trade show pet peeves. Between the four of us, we have a ton of trade show experience as vendors, educators, and attendees. I like that.
Don't get
Christine,
me started,
let's do
Christine.
that. Yeah, we're talking a little bit about that, but no, I think that's a great full-on topic. So
absolutely.
you know the Calendly link there, Eric, if you have it. Look at this guy. He's like on it.
Bam.
Look at that. So the four of us, Eric included with Christine. Wow, that would be a great show. I'd love that. Thank you, Christine. Ramona says, I'm a gadget gal myself, always looking for the bits and pieces that is supportive of production. But even now I have a couple of things I've never used, lost money. Right. And so you've got to just take that, right? And we've all done that. I've got stuff that does not get used as much as it should. I know lots of people that have that, and that is part of your business experience. You have to be able to take those hits and absorb them and move on, and then try to make the best out of it, right? So yeah, I get the gadget gal or guy thing for sure, Terry. All right,
I know that is you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. Well, mine just happens to be podcasting equipment and stuff. Yeah. Hopefully Kylene's not listening. All right. Christine says, don't buy equipment on impulse. I've seen people at trade shows who purchase something on a whim and then it never leaves the box, even if it's not that expensive, quote unquote, comparatively. It's still a waste of money and time. Yeah, absolutely.
It can definitely get exciting at a show, and likewise, I've talked to people who buy equipment and misled a little bit about the kind of support and training they're going to get, and so then they get frustrated with it, and it gets pushed into a corner, and it's a $20,000 purchase or a $10,000 purchase that you're just mad about, and over there it sits. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Barb says there is the other side when people say, what is the cheapest printer I can buy? And I think you were kind of talking about that with the sublimation stuff. The cheapest to save money may in the long run be more frustrating and non-productive. And I will add to that, Terry, not only more frustrating and non-productive, but probably actually more expensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. In the long run. Yeah.
I've seen it time and time again, the ruined, when we get into this, you talk about sublimation, we get into this discussion about third-party inks and, cheap heat presses and stuff like that. And the reality is sublimation blanks can be expensive depending on what you're doing. Those polyester shirts are not cheap, and all the other, slates and things like that. And if you don't have that consistency and like Barb was saying, the frustration and non-productivity, it can really end up being more expensive than if you would have made the investment up front. I don't know if my dad listens or not, but I'm gonna see him for Father's Day this weekend. So if he is listening, he can give me a hard time. But this used to always drive me crazy about my dad when he used to buy cars. The joke is that when his car got dirty, he'd buy a new one, but he never bought a new one. We always ended up getting some used car somewhere because it was the better deal. And by the end of the experience, I remember one time he traded in a truck, got another car, a used car that was a piece of junk, ended up selling that back to the dealer and buying the old truck that he had bought before back from them at more money than he had.
I was going to say the money was only going one direction with, with these transactions.
But it was, I've got to get that good deal, right? You've got to save money. What's the cheapest one? And it's like, gosh, just invest in a new car one time, and then we'll keep it for more than a couple weeks.
That great deal comment too, though. How many times have you heard somebody say, well, I know, but it was such a good deal, I couldn't pass it up? Well, is it a good deal, or are you just throwing money away? Because
it's kind of like the Kohl's Cash thing, I think, a little bit. I think we've had that discussion before. I don't know if you experienced that, but I experienced that with my wife quite a bit. The whole, I've got this Kohl's Cash, it's going to expire. We got to go use it. That's how they get you in the store to spend more money. You don't have to use it, because everybody knows that the next week you're going to get another thing in the mail with more Kohl's Cash, right?
You're not lighting a match to a $10 bill. It's just a coupon.
Love it.
Well, good on them. I mean, who doesn't know about Kohl's Cash?
Yeah, totally good on them. And I think it does work to a certain extent, and because that's human nature, right? We want to have that feeling of getting a good deal. That gives us a dopamine hit. We're we get excited about it. You get into the whole mindset of things. And the the truth is, Terry, our brains function as if we have two different people inside of us. Right? I've learned a ton about this through all the success principles and mindset work that I've been doing over the last 2 years. And the truth is, your subconscious brain and your conscious brain act as two different people, and you have to get them to play together nicely and use the conscious side of your brain as often as you can. But the emotions are what controls your subconscious brain, and that's really what controls most human beings. So anyhow, it's a whole different topic, Terry, for another day.
There's an argument going up here right now.
All right, let's see. Get another comment here, and we do have other great questions too. So can we make this a two-parter out of nothing, Terry? This is crazy.
Well, we have before.
Yes, we have. All right. Ramona says, no offense to the salespeople, but always remember they are salespeople. Terry, what was that Greg called you that one time?
Predatory salesperson.
Predatory salesperson, which is not true about Terry. It was definitely tongue-in-cheek joke. All right, everybody, just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay. She says, no offense to salespeople, but always remember they are salespeople. That is their job. Do your research and walk in with specific questions and ask for demonstration. And Ramona, I think that's perfectly said. I would add to that. You probably meant this, but I'm just going to add this little bit to it. Ask specific questions about your business, right? About your market and your business, right? Don't just ask general questions about the equipment, but ask them, say, here's what I'm trying to do. What would the process with your equipment be like for this, right?
Yeah.
And pin them down, right? How much time should I expect for me to make 100? Terry, if somebody came to you and is like, hey, I need to make a full color 10 by 12 print on a black shirt that, what would the time be per shirt? That what that is, and you can give them a range, but I think we've got to go ask those questions, right? So
yeah, exactly right. Because you may be making assumptions depending on the type of technology you want to use, but your assumptions could be wrong. You may have gotten those assumptions off the internet.
Wait, I thought everything was okay. We've covered that already.
Hey, I have a new slide now in my presentation. Everything you hear about DTG printing on the internet is wrong. My second slide says almost. Because it was pointed out to me in Long Beach, but you're on the internet. Oh yeah, that's true.
So only listen to me. You've got to find that picture. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but every time I hear that everything on the internet's not right. Yeah. All I can think about is that old, I think it was a Geico commercial where the guy was a French supermodel.
Right.
You got to get a screen capture of that. That would be.
That's true. That was a classic commercial.
Yes. All right. Let's see here. Eric did share when we were talking about Kohl's Cash, thought maybe we should use that strategy with our own rewards program. Just saying. Very good point, Eric. It works for Kohl's. Why can't it work for you? Love it. And then Christine, brace yourself. July 1st, it's happening. So cool. Excited about that. Here we go. Another good point to take this a little step further here. Christine says, Terry, she says, oh, don't get me started on the duty to vet the information you accept. Make sure you know the educator's credentials and background. So yeah, that's a very good point. All right. We'll Cindy, I think your question here about embroidery, we may need to take that into the half where we can get Eric in on the conversation. So hang tight on that one. Put a pin on that one.
I thought the word was embroidery.
Embroidery. No, it's not. All right. Here's the next. We're going to go back a little ways further into the comments from Sandy here. And thank you so much, Eric, for tagging these for us. She said, if you won 10,000, we're talking about the stalls, what would you do to improve your business? So what would you do to improve your business if you just were handed $10,000? Terry, where does your brain go first?
Well, it's stalls, so it's going to be stalls equipment. So I'd probably well, Kim already has one, but I'd get one of their hat presses that it's help me.
Double
I don't
sided.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
360 IQ, I think is what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. That is a really awesome piece of equipment, and a lot of hat presses out there. Not all hats fit on them perfectly well,
Yeah.
but that one, the way it's made with the gel, I think that's one of the things I would do, and probably um, uh, invest the rest of it with stalls in one of their online store business.
Yeah.
Um,
Spirit stores, I believe.
Spirit stores. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably do that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, and Terry, be thinking about this while I answer too. Let's also talk about just in general, right? What
In
if
general,
it wasn't
somebody hands you $10,000
yeah.
of something.
I just happen to have an extra $10,000 laying around, Terry, and you are my best friend, so I'm just going to give it to you, right? So
Sweet. You can Venmo me at.
Can you Venmo that much? Anyway, and B, I don't have that around. I was actually going to ask you for it, but that's a whole different topic. Okay, well, let me. I'm going to go from that angle real quick then too, and then I'll let you jump in there as well. So, $10,000, yes, equipment. I think if you're talking about equipment, the thing that I would want to look at is what is the centerpiece. You know, how can you improve your outflow? I was talking to a gentleman last week, I think it was, and he does a lot of direct to garment printing, and he felt like he could double his production numbers just by upgrading his piece of equipment. And you know that, Terry, you know, he's got 2100s and you go to the 3070. Is that the right?
Correct.
Right number?
Correct.
Yeah. Right. So it doesn't obviously have to be that, but whatever it is that you're doing, what can help you? I want to look at the piece of equipment that's going to help me increase my production rate, right? And make it to where even just the little things, like you talked about some of that stalls equipment. So I always loved their fusion press. I mean, it's a great press in a lot of ways, but the thing I loved about it was the board on it, you know, the computer inside of it that you can program in all of the things that you want to do. Right. And I think you can do that on some of the other presses, but theirs seem to be the most intuitive and easiest to just go, okay, I'm doing this right now. I need to change gears, because it's that changeover. You talk about this a lot in screen printing, Terry. It's that change from one project to the next where you can really get the most bang for your buck. So what tools and resources can you invest there? I mean, it could be as much as, you know, maybe it's not equipment that in that resource. It could be, hey, I'm going to hire Terry Combs as my consultant to come in and give me what's the claim you give you how many
double your
hours?
production in 30 days or less.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know, something like that. So that would be for me, what I would do with $10,000 is figure out a way that I can increase my production speed so that because a lot of times it's space, right? I've seen a lot of this with small business owners that they're like, oh, I can't grow, but they're busy. Right. And, a big part of that is that if they could just clear out the space. I mean, I think just going and organizing your place where you can feel like you can do more. We don't understand this. It's one of those subconscious things, but we don't expand if we can't. And so we need to be able to kind of give ourselves that space. And so maybe a second piece of equipment so you can run at the same time. Barb talked about 10,000 I would put towards another single head needle machine or knock out a wall to add more workspace footage. So again, all of those things to increase your production is what I would say, Terry. So what's your take on that?
You know, let me take a step back when you talked about your space, because we will fill whatever space we have.
Correct.
But one thing that you know, when I was more active as a consultant, actually going on to production floors, when I would do the report at the end, I remember one person saying to me, a company owner saying to me, well, Terry, we already knew 80% of this. And I said, I'm sure you did, but you didn't do anything about it. You knew you were doing it wrong. You knew that you had this issue, but you didn't address it. You had to pay me to come and tell you, hey, by the way, I know you already know this, but do something about it, fix it. You know, so that's part of it. So I tell people, and I wrote an article about this a long time ago, be your own consultant. Take a day and walk around your shop as if you don't work there. You're a consultant, and note, and again, you already know the things that need to be done, but kind of look at your business when you're talking about, clean up and straighten up and make room. It's that kind of thing. You need to take a look at it and say, we do need to fix this. We need to change that. And so be your own consultant for a day, and you might be surprised at all the things that you'll see that you could that could make your business better. So $10,000 for me, since I'm not an active decorator anymore, I would probably invest that money in some new equipment like you buy that Kylie doesn't know about, and probably some equipment to go on the road to do some videos at some different locations and some other people's shops, things like that. Some training videos, that sort of thing. But actually out in the field. So that's what I would do with my 10,000.
I like that. For me personally, again, like Terry, not an everyday decorator. Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, I like what you're saying. I think I would do, though. I would actually hire hire I don't know. I say one of those kids, right? The younger people that and like you said, get out there, do some video, record some stuff, right? Have them kind of take care of the tech end of making the content that I want to make, right? And taking the book that I'm writing and turning that into an online signature system. So I think that's what I would do. And if there was money left over, I would probably, I get to be the lead for Jack Canfield's mastermind program, his Momentum Mastermind. But the funny part is I've never actually been on the other side of that particular one, because I think it's $30,000 a quarter to be part of it. So,
wow.
But I get to lead it. So, I'm worth that, I guess.
it's always good to be the leader.
That's right. Right. All right. Dean says, you mean I'm not the only one with 100 pounds of something in a 50-pound container? You were talking about that, Terry. I was actually, this works in a lot of different ways, but there's actually this thing out there called the Parkinson's Law. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this. And I'm not sure if it relates to stuff too. I'll have to do a little more research on that. But this was talking about the fact that if whatever the deadline is that we set for the work that we have, that's how much time it's going to take us. Right. So the example in one of these videos that I was watching talked about, if you have 10 hours to write a letter, you're going to, first go take a shower. Second, you're going to find the perfect pen. Next, you're going to figure out which paper you want to use. Then you're going to, do a few different other things, and then you'll get the letter written. But if you had 10 minutes to do it, you would put out basically the same letter, and you would skip the shower. You would, just go with what pen was available. Right. So
cut to the chase.
It's that concept with the work that we have. Right. And then they went on to share. Like, this is what I love it. This is what Elon Musk has done to get to where he's at. I love that.
The perfect pen.
The perfect pen. I love it.
That's what a writer has on his desk.
That's right. The perfect pen.
Presenting the perfect pen to you.
So you never have to find it. It's always right there. But real quick to close that out, Elon Musk, again, whatever you think about him, that doesn't necessarily matter. I think we can all agree that he's gotten a lot done and really moved the needle in a lot of ways in a lot of different places. And he's said that a big part of that is he sets what most people think are unrealistic expectations and deadlines. And, it's one of those things like, wow, if you go for that, maybe you don't get all the way there, but whatever you did get is probably way more than if you would have said, oh, let's do a year. I mean, the pandemic was a perfect example of this. Everybody had all these great plans to do these things in a couple of years, to figure out how to go online and to, make all these changes. And that was going to be, I can't tell you how many people I talked to that had these plans like a couple of years down the road. And then now we're all stuck at home and things have changed. And oh, amazing. We figure out how to do online training in 2 weeks. So
Exactly
anyway,
right.
it's Parkinson's principle. And I think it has to do with our stuff too, where, yeah, if you've got so much stuff, you're going to expand to that space, right? Like, oh my gosh, I need to buy a bigger house because I have too many things. Well, I've had that experience. I go from an apartment into my home and all of a sudden my basement is full of stuff that I never had before. Anyhow, so, all right.
Yeah, everything's level, and it's like pouring water on the floor. You'll fill your space no matter what space there is.
You're totally right. All right. Christine says, Aaron, you took the idea right out of my head. I'd hire someone to do the technical video stuff. I love that. Good. All right. Where are we at here, Terry? You want to get one more question?
Yeah, let's do.
Okay. So this is from Frank earlier. He said DTG versus DTF. And I know we've had Todd on here to talk a bit about this. But what's your take, Terry? I know you guys were showing at Indy, you guys were showing some of the DTF capabilities that you had with the Epson DTG machine. So go ahead.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people still don't realize that you can make a DTF transfer on a DTG machine without changing inks or anything. It's just a matter of reversing the image, print in reverse order, and onto the film, and so, you know, as a combination, it really opens up a lot of opportunity for DTG, because DTG obviously works best with ring spun 100% cotton. You know, there are companies out there that say, well, with our machine, you can print on poly. It's like we were talking about before we went on the air today. Can you or should you? Can you print on poly? Yeah. Should you? Probably not, because it doesn't wash well. But I can print the DTF transfer on my DTG printer and get a really cool print on a 100% polyester shirt that washes well. I don't know that it's an either or. I think they both have their I mean, if somebody's trying to decide, do I buy a DTG machine or do I buy a DTF machine? I think, and you know, I know Todd's in this business, but I think that a DTG print directly on a shirt has a much better hand, a much better feel than a DTF transfer. That said, I think DTF is a huge addition to a lot of businesses to do that short run piece like you do with DTG, but on some substrates like, you know, poly, those recycled water bottle grocery bags, you know, things like that. It's perfect for that sort of thing. Printing on hats, you know, can I DTG directly on a hat? I can. Is it better if I do a DTF transfer so that I can decorate a bigger variety of hats? Absolutely. I'm going to go that direction over there. So I don't know. What's your take, Aaron?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think, like you said, what it's all about. I mean, because like thinking about, you talked about hats or, you know, I know somebody that was an OSG member and they had a DTG machine, but it was one of those ones that's quite a bit slower to run. And they actually ended up doing a lot of their work as DTF, because like doing a left chest, if they can just run one sheet with all the left chests and then press it while the machine's running kind of thing, they were able to increase their production speed just by now if it's full prints, then that's a different story. And like you said, I agree, the hand, well, you guys had there in the booth, I remember going up and talking to Jay, and you guys had a DTF print on one shirt and a direct DTG print on the other shirt. And you know, it's like, okay, tell us which one's which. It was easy. I mean, it didn't take more than, you know, grabbing each one real quick. Oh, that's the DTG, that's the DTF. Absolutely. Because like you said, you can feel it. There is that glue that makes it a little bit thicker, the powder that you have to put on it. And I think if you're just doing a lot of t-shirts, to me, that would be a DTG business. But if you, you know, somebody like Todd, who is, not actually, he's printing transfers, right? And so he's
Right.
got a dedicated DTG machine that's got the dryers and shakers and bakers and whatever goes on with that.
DTF machine. Yeah.
Yeah. He has a specific DTF machine, and for printing transfers, that makes a lot of sense, right? But I think if you're a decorator, I think you're right. I think finding that middle ground tool, and with DTG machines, you can still print DTF. And so I think that's kind of the toss up. I'm not saying that even if you aren't just printing transfers for others, that a straight DTF machine is not of value, but I would definitely think about, because the only downside to a DTG that you're using as a DTF is your production speeds are a little bit slower than a dedicated DTF.
Right. Depending on the machine. Correct.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, we're talking about dedicated full on, 24, whatever, I think, or actually Todd's got a 17-inch wide kind of roll fed type deal.
Right.
Not a converted inkjet printer that is still just printing sheets. So.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So I think we covered that. Anything else that we missed on that, Terry?
I don't think so. I think that and hey, it's interesting, and now that trade shows are kicking back in about 70%. That's what everybody's going to the shows. They've been home for 2 years. That's what they're going to see because they've heard about DTF. It's all over the internet, and I probably half the people I talk to at shows say I came to this show to see DTF because you can watch all the videos in the world, but you can't feel the shirt.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah, you're right. And Todd says space and power available needs to be factored in too. Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of goes for all equipment purchases. I can't tell you how many times it's like, oh, I know that was when Epson first came out with the F2100. That was a big deal. Is that okay? Can we turn this on its side to get it through a normal door? Right. And that was a big deal. And I think sometimes people get something and go, oh, how am I going to get this? Right. How much does it cost to have somebody open up a hole in your wall and then fill it back in?
Right. Will my landlord let me take out the plate glass window in the front of my building? And I had that conversation yesterday with someone.
Okay, good. Yeah. But as business owners, those aren't the things that we're thinking about every day, right? We're thinking about all of the making and how we get customers and interacting with our customers and doing all this. I don't think it's possible to go, gosh, how do I get this down? So like you said, you've got to every once in a while stop and be a consultant, right? And then stop and like say, okay, I'm going to this show. I need to be prepared. You can't just go to the show and go, oh, cool, I'm just going to check it all out. And then I'm taking my credit card,
roam around,
whatever, right? Yeah, roll one out. And because then you don't think about some of those other things, space and power availability, stuff like that.
And Aaron, we have that show at the end of every year where we talk about planning for the next year. And these are the kind of things that you need to set aside time and sit down and think through these things and talk to people and plan for your business, plan for your future business.
Yep. All right, Terry. Well, I think I
think our guest's here. No.
So first and foremost, Terry, let's really thank the regulators. You guys showed up as usual, but great questions. There's even more questions in here that we didn't get to. I think we'll try to cover Cindy's question over on the half here in a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But we've got 5 things here. Is this from you, Terry, or is this from Mr. Eric Campbell?
It's from Eric Campbell.
All right, there we go. I didn't see the typing going on in the background. So, Eric, do you want to do this again where you get to be the man and I'll push buttons for you for a second? All right, well, come on in. I'll let you bring yourself on in, and then I'll push buttons after that. Welcome into the program, the man, the myth, the legend, one Mr. Eric Campbell.
I don't know if I deserve that much intro, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
That about Terry when he walks into a room too, but it's just one of those things. All right.
Yeah, he says it about everybody apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's not special at all.
No, it's not. I say that to when I look in the mirror, and I say that to myself too. So
that's true.
Positive self-image, people.
Yeah. All right. Well, Eric, are you ready for the 5 things? I will lead you in here.
Yeah, play
ready?
man. Let's
all
do
right,
it.
Here we go.
All right, folks. So this is 5 things to remember when setting your pricing. So I have helped a lot of people when they're kind of struggling with pricing, and often they're going to say, "Hey, give me the numbers." Once again, I'm going to give you the non-answer. It's the non-answer answer. I'm not going to give you numbers, but these are the things to get over when you're trying to work on your pricing, things to get in your head, to get your mindset right. So number one, bargain pricing promotes narrow margins. Unfortunately, if we race to the bottom, the only thing we can do is compete on efficiency. Is it possible? Yes, the Walmarts of the world exist, but then you got to compete at the Walmart levels, and not all of our equipment or our setups for business make sense for that. So remember, when we race to the bottom to beat somebody else's price for the bargain hunters, those are the kind of customers we will have, and that's the kind of margins we're going to make. Second thing, profit is the point. Even if you're doing this for fun, it's a side hustle. It's something that you're doing on your own. It's something you didn't expect to do as a business. Even if you just want to continue doing the thing you want to do, you want to make yourself a creative job, you need to make profits. You can't just skin by, because you're going to need to upgrade or repair equipment. You're going to want to expand. And at the very least, you want to make sure your time's covered, which leads very well into the third point. Number 3, pay yourself for labor even when you're solo. Solopreneurs are especially bad at this. What do you think is going to happen to your budget when you do finally hire the person doing part of the job that you do today? You have to pay yourself separately for labor and make sure that it's a cost that you're dealing with before you start hiring people. Even if you don't intend to hire somebody, it's a very good idea to understand that you need the minimum to maintain. What does that mean? You need to not only just make profit, but before you profit, you have to make sure you're paying yourself, because the company you're building requires your labor to function. So pay yourself for labor. Number 4, value is not directly proportionate to cost. You do not need to add more cost, more decoration, more time, more materials, more equipment to make something worth more. The same blank shirt to 2 different markets can be worth $6 or $60, depending on how it's positioned, how it's placed, and how much people trust it. So the value that a customer sees, is not necessarily pegged directly to cost. Think about how you can increase value without increasing the amount of labor and the amount of cost on your end. And last but not least, the thing that I say on my show all the time that gets people thinking I'm being too serious, here it is. You're not selling shirts, you're selling the limited hours of your life. When you're pricing, remember that you are selling the time you have on this earth. I know that sounds deep, I know that sounds heavy, but it's true. If you're going to spend your day today pressing shirts, embroidering, doing whatever it is to make this thing happen, I hope you're happy doing that. I know I love it, but you're still selling the limited hours of your lifespan. Make sure you take that into account when you price, and know that you should be getting paid for the work that you do. And that's my 5 things.
Awesome, Eric. Wow.
Awesome, Eric. Hey, Eric, just tell me how much to charge per 1,000 stitches, okay?
It's not $1. I'm just going to say it out.
I know
loud.
that pushes your buttons.
It's not 25 cents either. No.
Hey, how much do you want those minutes of your very limited human lifespan to be worth, folks? I know every time I say something, goes, "Man, Eric, that is dark," and I'm like, "Yeah, that whole memento mori thing people did, there was a reason for that. You're spending your time, folks. Remember that. You're not just goofing off. This is your life. Spend it how you want."
All
right,
we've spent about 1,000 hours with this show, considering how many times we've gone over 1,000 hours of our lives.
Wow, it's starting to make that producer pay look a lot smaller. But you can't get smaller than 0.
Yep. All right. Well, Bill says
All
great.
right, folks.
Bill says great 5 things, Eric.
Thank you.
Terry says charge what you're worth and never apologize. I love that. Eric, while we've got you here, sir, tell us what's coming up here in the rest of Education Friday for you.
Rest of Education Friday for me certainly is going to include the Take Up. So if I can actually get all the banners and stuff ready,
sorry.
I'm still pushing buttons.
You're
but
good.
the Take Up today is episode 116, and this is bad assumptions, bad in parentheses, about machine embroidery and digitizing, wherein I'm going to hash out some incorrect assumptions that new digitizers and embroiderers make about digitizing, art interpretation, embroidery, shop setup, and just plain business that hold them back, and how to avoid them. So head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up on the top menu for the full playlist. I've actually also got, I'm going to throw this up. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm testing this out. If you're watching this and you have your phone handy, up in the corner where the logo usually is, you will see a QR code. When I've been putting those up with the links, you can always pause the video, Replay Squad, #Replay Squad, go in, pause the link, snap that with your phone. You will be able to go straight to the videos and links that we produce. But this will go straight to the video today. If you want to get in there, 2:30 Mountain Time today, PM, you will be able to talk with me about those incorrect assumptions you make. And by the way, I would love to hear about what the incorrect assumptions anybody makes in the comments, what you made when you started up. Second thing is, of course, coming up at Impressions Expo Fort Worth, you guys know I'm doing the long patch class one more time this year. So making small run patches coming up, 3+ hours of me telling you all you need to know about getting going with small run patches.
My assumption was incorrect about this when I read this. It's not about long patches. It's a long seminar.
No, it's a long seminar. And also it's not about small patches just because it's a small run. It's low quantity in-house patch production. But yeah, I'll teach you how to make long patches if you want to. That's the new market, long patches. All right, folks.
All right, Eric. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, Ramona says, Eric, and you're good. Just, but she says, I have a seasoned embroiderer that needs the take up today. Ugh. So there we go. Send them over, Ramona. Okay. So, and Chuck tried out the Bitly QR code. Good work, Eric. It works great.
That's
so
awesome.
There we go. Cool. Trying new things, always on the cutting edge, Terry, making us look good. This is good. Thanks, Eric. All right, Terry, what about you, sir? What's coming up?
I have my everything you hear about DTG printing on the internet is wrong. I'll be presenting that July 21st at Graphics Pro Expo in the Meadowlands, New Jersey.
Will you have that new slide with the French supermodel in there by then?
I don't have it in there yet, but
by July 21st, should I send you a reminder?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Sorry, Terry. Good.
Also, DTG/DTF. There you go. Academy Live is going to be July 28th at Equipment Zone in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Myself and Jay Bassell will be over there in New Jersey doing that, along with some of the folks over there in New Jersey office as well. My complete screen printing business class at Equipment Zone in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey for the New York City area. That will be July 30th and 31st. Yes, I'm going to be over there for about 10 days. Nice. The sign-up page will be up at the Equipment Zone site next week. My next screen printing class in Chicago with Atlas Screen Supply is August 27th and 28th. My next class here in Phoenix at Workhorse Products is September 17th and 18th. That's actually a new date. And all my upcoming 2022 future class dates are on my website, terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah. So coming up here, July 15th, I'm going to be putting on a new workshop through our success group. It's called Growing Your Business Effortlessly. It is a business planning workshop where we're going to cover the 5 keys and just show people how this really kind of, I don't know, Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits, called the planning process the first creation, right? Everything that's ever been created is actually created twice. First, it's got to be created in your mind somehow, right? And so if you do that in a effortless way before you start buying new equipment or throwing stuff against the wall, all these things that we talked about today, Terry. So we're going to do a 90-minute workshop on July 15th, and it's going to be going through all that stuff, but it's going to be interactive, where not only will I share the information about how to write this business plan, but we're going to actually do some of the work. So you're going to have, some people, it might be what they need to really kind of get them going. Some people, it'll be a good start to then some additional planning that they need to do going forward from there. So yeah, it's not just going to be this me talking for 90 minutes. It's going to be sharing some information, you getting into the work. There'll be a workbook that comes along with this. Anyhow, all the details are kind of coming together right now. They will be live over at our success group later on today. If you're interested in that, though, just go ahead and reach out to me, Aaron at 2 Regular Guys, or ping me, and I'll make sure that you get the information as soon as that page is up. I'm just finalizing the details yet today. So look for that coming July 15th. And then moving out a little bit further, September 11th, I'm going to be participating in an international online small business skills summit as a speaker. So the Small Business Skills Summit is bringing to you 30 experts over 30 days. It's a free to attend, but with limited access. But there's also a VIP package available that's got some early bird pricing available until the end of the month. And you can go check that out at osg.link/skills summit. Make sure you put those 2 S's in there, skills, plural, summit. And the VIP pass is packed full of value that'll give you access to the 4 live Q&A panel sessions that are happening. Plus, you'll also have a dedicated channel with each expert where you can ask them questions for 7 days after the session. And of course, you'll also get all of the replays of everything that's happened over those 30 days. The cool part is that dedicated channel, it's Volley. So if you guys haven't gotten on Volley yet, now's the time. Right?
You must have stock in Volley.
I did actually talk to one of their new investors yesterday, but that's a whole different story. So my session is going to be called Conquer, Fear, and Thrive. It's something that I've done in the past, but I'm bringing some new twists to it here for the Small Business Summit. The folks putting this on are out of Australia, so you'll get a lot of good Australian accents throughout the course too, but international speakers from all over the world. So I'm really excited to also be an attendee of that event.
That's awesome.
I think it actually starts on like the 9th of September and goes for 30 days, but my session is on the 11th. So, all right, September 15th, Charlotte, North Carolina, Graphics Pro Expo is hosting the Start Here Academy that I get to be the MC and highlight those amazing makers and influencers. And hopefully we'll have all 3 of them there. we've had Lisa and we've had Stan. We've been trying with Eve, and we'll keep trying. We'll figure something out here. Maybe Eve and I'll record something and bring it to you. But anyways, that's happening on the 15th, and then also make sure that you're staying there in Charlotte for the Charlotte show for the rest of the time. I'll be hanging out in the Graphics Pro booth afterwards, and I think some of the influencers will be able to hang out some too, and it's going to be a great time out there in Charlotte. And looking forward to doing that. So osg.link/SHA is where you can find out more details about that. And then let's see here. Yeah, September is going to be crazy busy, which is always fun. Sublimation Summit in Peachtree City, Georgia. I'll be teaching on the 23rd of September out there. I'm really actually looking forward to this trip personally too, because I'm taking my dad with me. And then we're going to go to that. And then that night we're driving to Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. It's not a short drive, but it's we're driving
South Carolina.
Did I say North Carolina? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's yes.
In the Carolinas.
In the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach. And then that next day on the 24th, I will be teaching there at Everything Embroidery Market, which is a lot more than just embroidery. In fact, the Magic Touch is going to be there. Corel Trainer is going to be there. Stahl's Transfer Express is going to be there. SewingMachine.com is going to be there. All sorts of great stuff. And there's a great lineup of educators and speakers over there happening Everything Embroidery Market in Myrtle Beach. And then I'll get a couple days to go do some history stuff with my dad. So nice. Looking forward to all that. And then Terry, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we'll be hanging out at the Printing United show in Las Vegas, Nevada, October 19th through the 21st. And there will be a Two Regular Guys Decorators community booth there where we be capturing some podcasts, talking to people, having our friends in. Nikki's going to come hang out. The guys from Corel Trainers are going to come hanging out. I'm sure we'll have all sorts of people in there just hanging out. Nice lounge. We'll probably have both blow up couches there, Terry.
Wow.
I mean, we're just going to lounge it out, right? So, all right. Well, that's what I've got going on. We talked about what Eric's got going on. Terry, great job, sir. Way to make it happen.
Eric and I were messaging back and forth before you logged on this morning saying, well, this might be the shortest show we've ever done. And we are 15 minutes over as usual.
Oh, you would think, how many more shows until we realize that just is never going to be a problem?
I know, because I'm constantly saying, I don't know if we have enough.
What can we do to assure you,
here,
Terry, that we will be just fine? All right. Well, great show, Terry, and regulators again. Thank you guys so much. You guys just lots of high fives. I love it. Thank you for showing up with some great questions and putting in your 2 cents. That's what this is all about. Just a wonderful decorators community. And thank you guys so much for being here. And Terry, great job by you.
You as well. And we want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for coming on doing 5 things and for pushing all those buttons in the background, keeping everything going.
Yeah. Eric, thank you very much, sir. Next week, Terry, we've got, he's been on the show several times, friend of the show, Josh Ellsworth, who's the executive VP with Group Stalls. Josh, he's such a cool guy. And, he started, he's been with Stalls forever. And I don't remember exactly where he started, but it certainly wasn't the executive VP level, and he's worked his way up to that executive VP level. Well worth it. I mean, he just is heart and soul into taking care of the customers over there. So he's going to be joining us to talk about profit trends in the heat transfer, heat decorating world. And so we're really excited to have Josh joining us to share. Always brings great information. And this time is not going to be any different, Terry.
Exactly right. I always look forward to having Josh on the show. So until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.